What's going on, everybody? It's your man Logikbomb, and welcome to the 4th edition of Elements the Beat series. Today I wanted to do a special edition for our man, our mentor, our inspiration, J Dilla. I'm a little bit late in regards to the 7th of February. However, I did want to present, or rather to devote a specific episode to the inspiration to a lot of us producers today. Now, while I don't want to do what is usually the norm of what a person would do for a tribute edition or whatever, I did want to do something that would give my little interpretation of what Dilla meant to me and why I do what I do on MPC. And so today what we're going to be doing is, first of all, I'm gonna get a chance to show off my favorite machine, which happens to be the same machine that Dilla used, the MPC 3000, which may be rare or maybe something that a lot of you producers out there have not got your hands on, or at least seen in the face. And there's not a lot of YouTube videos on this machine. There's very few, and if you look up the MPC 3000 on YouTube, it's actually very hard to find a video. In fact, you can maybe count on maybe 2 hands and maybe your feet how many videos will actually come up and show the actual MPC 3000. So I wanted to feature that today. As well, I wanted to do a feature and show how to do things, how to cut and chop and all that other stuff on this MPC, as well as maybe do some other stuff, but we'll get into that. So thank you for watching, and let's go ahead and start the program. Let's start the show. So a lot of producers may be like, so what's the difference between an MPC 2000, an MPC 2500, an MPC 2000 XL, an MPC 1000, MPC 500, 4000, 5000, in comparison to the MPC 60, which I also have, and the MPC 3000. This was Dilla's baby. The difference between those machines is that this one, first of all, is was created by Roger Lynn, as you can see right here. All right, and also this machine, even though it's 16-bit like the 2000 XL and the 2000, this machine has a filter in it, and it also, the engine that operates this machine is has a what is known a warmer sound to it that a lot of people like. If you listen to any Dilla track, especially after a certain period of time, you'll notice that it has the warmness of this machine right here. And what I want to do first is just turn this baby on. All right, and basically show you what the difference is between the other machines as compared to this machine. Say, excuse the camera work, but if you notice here that the screen is much different but yet similar to the other machines, other MPC series, Kai MPC series that you're used to. First of all, you have the sequence and the number of bars and BPMs and things that you're used to, but it also has other things as well that you may not be used to, and I'll go into that a little bit later. For the most part, the format's the same, except newer machines have the Windows style screens. Rather, this one is just basically straightforward, older style, as if you would had an old Mac or PC, so to speak, and it has dedicated buttons for each and every thing that you're trying to do. and I'll go into that a little bit later. As a matter of fact, in the next few episodes, you'll be seeing me use this baby a little more and show you how I get down on this one as well. But as you can see, and as you'll hear later on in this episode, it sounds a lot different in comparison to other machines. The older version, the MPC 60, which was the first Roger Lynn model, actually had 12-bit in comparison to the 16-bit, but this 16-bit in comparison to the MPC 2000 or 2000 XL 16-bit is totally different. As a matter of fact, the first machine that I started off on, MPC 2000 XL, has kind of like a hollower sound. So you notice in comparison to this, if you ever had your hands on this machine, you'll notice automatically the total difference in the sound. Your kicks, when you use the filter, becomes punchier. Your snares, you can utilize that a feature on here to make that crack a little more, and you can see how Dilla really used his brain to utilize this machine to make his beats as vicious as they were. As a matter of fact, don't get it twisted, each machine has its own capabilities and limitations and things of that nature. For instance, rather, this one, you cannot see the wavelength when you chop. You know, the sound waves going up and down as you try to chop, and you can tell where the kick is or where the end of the snare is and things of that nature. On this machine, you don't see that. And so it really shows how Dilla really had a good ear. And this machine actually trains you, so to speak, to have a good ear, because you're not focused on chopping by means of looking at what's on the screen. You're listening and you're chopping it from there, and it goes by numbers, as I'll show you later on. And so there's so many differences to this. Like I said, my first machine ever was actually a SP202, which had no screen capabilities at all. But that trained me how to listen to samples, which is very important, as I emphasize in my other videos. When you listen to a sample, you want to get the elements out of there. And this machine really helps you to do that because of the way that you're chopping. Anybody can just get on an MPC and put something inside the pads, and that's all well and good, but when you get this machine coming from a newer machine, a lot of people get intimidated, which shows how vicious J Dilla, even Dr. Dre, which has like 5 of these, DJ Quick, oh man, there's so many different producers that has this one and will stick to this one. 88 keys. Even me, like, even though you may see other MPCs up here on my little deck, so to speak, most of the time when you hear a beat from me, I'm either using this machine or the MPC 2000 XL. And of course, you know, got the 2500 as well, which I used to have the 2500 and things like that, but it's a very different machine. So for the most part, I'm gonna, as we go through this video, limit my talking and get more into you hearing the sound of this machine. It's a real vicious machine, and if you ever pick it up on YouTube. That's what I'm on right now. Pick it up on eBay or something like that. You can find it under a pretty good price, considering it's a classic machine. You'll see some people who are just going way over your head with the prices on there, but you may find some good deals just to pick one up. Make sure the screen works, and if not, MPC stuff in North Carolina, down in North Carolina, has you know, pieces that you can pick up or whatever, which can help you to repair your machine. So like I said, I'm gonna limit my talking as we go through the video and everything, but I just want to go ahead and introduce this machine to you. Like I said, this is the Dilla edition of Elements the Beat series with your host, your man Logikbomb, and we're gonna get into some music right now, get into some beat making and start getting inspired and stuff. So I'll see you in a second. Alright everybody, so we're back. That's right. Y'all know what this is. Roy Ayers, Ubiquity, he's coming. You're probably like, for those who aren't familiar out there, you're probably wondering what in the world is the big deal with this album. Well, you should know that one of my favorite, including a lot of people's favorite Dilla beat, Dilla Chops, was sampled, or rather the sample he used was Ain't Got Time, which if you check out Questlove's rendition on this story, he did it beautifully. He explaining how Dilla did this chop. He was there when it happened. But I'm not gonna chop that today. I'm not gonna re-chop it or whatever. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna sample the song after that called I Don't Know How to Love Him. I don't know what the motive of the song was, whatever, but the song is jive-ish, so whatever. So I'm gonna go ahead and put this right here, and I'm gonna go ahead and do some sampling for you. Now you'll notice off the break the difference of this album, rather of this the sound of this machine. So eventually what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna actually start showing y'all how to make beats on this machine. Reason why is because even though you may not have a 3000, or if you eventually get one, you want to go to a video, have a video to refer to that's gonna actually show you how to do it. So I hear some stuff already. Okay, so and also when you listen, you know what I'm saying, to a sample or to a song, if it happens to hit you to sample, oh, I want to sample this sound or whatever, memorize where it is. And you can train yourself over time to memorize where the sound was, even if you're, I don't know, cleaning, or I don't know, chatting with your wife, so to speak, or something like that, you know what I'm saying? You can memorize where the sample is, so when you go back to it, you know where to pick it from. So already I know where I want to pick certain parts on here, because not only am I familiar with the song, but I also just heard it, so let's make it happen. Now instead of having your regular shift sample button like on the 2000 XL or MPC 2000 or whatever like that, on this machine you're gonna go to Programs and Sounds, and Program Sounds, and hit number 5. Alright, and as usual you have the option of sampling in stereo or mono left or right. So I'm gonna take those away. Secret to some Logikbomb Will Wade drums. A lot of times I chop from records as you've seen in past videos of mine, but what I also do, I actually mic my own drums. I have a small little drum set, and this is a little bit of advice, or maybe even something that you producers can do out there if you haven't done it yet. This isn't old news, but you don't have to upset your wife or your girlfriend, along with the chaperone, to fill your living room with a big drum set. You don't have to do that. And neither do you need a whole bunch of mics to get the job done either. You can get a Radio Shack mic, a dynamic Radio Shack mic, and also you get a hi-hat stand with you can get some cheap hi-hats, or you can get a high-end hi-hats depending on what your sound is going to be. And what you want to do then is also get a snare. I have a piccolo. And also I made a makeshift kick drum out of an old snare, put a shirt in it, put a hole on the back end, and then make sure you get a regular kicker or whatever for that. And it'll sound, as a matter of fact, it is a kick drum. It's a kick drum without the stand. So you gotta pin it up to something or make your own stand. But anyway, I mic my own drums, and let me show you that right now. The MPC 3000 is one of the best MPCs you can use for live drums. Why? Because not only does it put grittiness in your drums when you're recording it into the MPC, but also it just sounds lovely, guys. I can't put enough emphasis on that. But as you can see, I have some Sabian cymbals, and you see all my sticks right there, along with a regular hi-hat stand. So there's my hi-hats, and I have my little piccolo with a hi-hat stand, and just my little practice pad. That's my little sound percussion pad, so I won't make my wife upset, even though okay. And and I got my little snare. Alright, now as you can see, I made my little makeshift kick down here, which is a snare, an old snare with a old t-shirt in it, as I'll zoom in and show you at this time. And I put tape on it as well as the shirt in there, and a hole on the other side, which you can't see, so that it can give me a punch. Alright, and there's the kicker right there. I have all my sticks, my jazz sticks and all that, which I may usually use the 5A jazz sticks or whatever like that. And what I do is I make sure that I have the mic in the right position, which I'll show you in a later episode how to exactly record your drums into a MPC of any kind. It doesn't just have to be a 3000. I'm just showing you on this particular episode how to do it on here. So that's with that word of advice or whatever, I'm gonna go ahead and just show you how I already got my drums. I already put my all these are drums directly from my my little personal set, and you can make them, you can tweak them in here with the filter that I mentioned earlier to make it sound as crunchy or as sterile as possible, but it's still gonna have that classic 3000 sound. Oh man, just if you hit a kick on a MPC 1000 or 2500 and hit a kick on here, you'll immediately notice the difference. At a recent battle that I was part of, big up to Beat Conductors for throwing the DC Bracket Beat Battle, I utilized my drums from this machine and used them in my 2000 XL, and the crowd was pretty, they was feeling my beats. because my drums was knocking better than everybody else on stage. Big up to them. They did a good job as well. I'm not trying to be unhumble, but I did notice the reaction of the crowd with my drums, and I take pride in that. And the reason why is because you want to take pride in that too, and the sound your drums is. Another words of advice is there's a lot of sound things that you can download out there, and I'm not knocking those, but make sure you create your own drums if you can. Create your own drums so that a person will know that's so and so, rather than, oh, he's using the brethren break or whatever the case may be. And even, you know what I'm saying, layer your drums and all that other stuff. Just tweak them to make them you. And even if you don't, make it swing. Do something to the drums that'll make it totally vicious. So, you know what, guys, I know I'm doing a lot of talking. I'm excited because this is the Dilla edition. I'm excited to show you about this machine. Forgive all the talking. So I'm gonna go ahead and sequence this for you, okay? So I'm gonna show you. Okay, so this is how I do the method. You know, this is what the method of my madness is for some beats that I do, depending on how I'm feeling. Which right now, I'm feeling hype, son. This is the Dilla edition, so I'm hype. Alright, so what I do my hi-hats first, okay? And the reason why is because usually when you listen to something like jazz, you hear the hi-hat first. But I don't have the hi-hat playing first before anything in regards to my sequence. What I do is I just use it as a outline, so to speak, so that every other element, such as the kick drum, snare, open hi-hat, and all that, can go off of that. Okay, this is different than what many other producers may do. Everybody has a different method, but I'm just showing you how Logic Bombs work. Okay, so I already put them out there, or usually I show the beat live or whatever. I don't have much battery life, so I'm gonna go ahead and just do it straight for y'all. All right, so I'm gonna solo the tracks, okay? If y'all can hear that, this is the hi-hat, okay? This is the hi-hat right here. Remember when I was talking to y'all about the velocity? The 3000 has that too. You hit 16 levels, make sure it's on velocity, and it gets louder or softer. Okay, so that's how you can do it. You know what I'm saying? Don't make it, or even if you have you're not utilizing the variation feature in regards to your velocity, make sure you're conscious of how your sample is going, or rather how your hi-hat or your sounds are being velocitized, should I say. Okay, so that's the hi-hat, and this is I put my kick and my snare on the same track. And also, that's another piece of advice that you may want to include in your repertoire. Put all your sounds, the sample, or rather the main melody sample, kick, snare, hi-hat, and other elements in a separate track, so that you'll be able to better organize it. You can tweak each sound on its own, and there's so many ways to do it. This is just my method. So I'm gonna go ahead and take the drums off solo. Okay, so you can really. Number 3 is what I put the melody on. Okay, so I'm on solo it. Ready? All right, y'all like that? after this episode, okay? This is gonna be a 2-part episode, all right? Which is why I put 2-part, whatever, episode on here, because basically this is the Dilla edition. So I didn't talk a lot about Dilla for the most part on here because I want you to understand or see, check out the machine that he used, you know what I'm saying? And then as we go on in the second part of the 4th episode of Elements the B series, we're gonna get into Dilla, samples that he produced, you know, that he chopped, and how he may have did things. And so please bear with me with the camera antics on this episode. Check out the exclusive at the end of this, and you know, we're just gonna vibe out. It's your boy Logikbomb, or rather, alright, it's your boy Logikbomb, DC producer. Peace out to y'all. I'll see y'all in the second part of this episode coming within the week, alright? As a matter of fact, it's gonna be uploaded pretty soon, so y'all stay tuned, okay? Alright, and just watch me while we vibe out, alright?